These pictures clearly demonstrate the simple and down-to-earth gestures of the developer king, who's happy to work with his very own hands. Above all is His Majesty the King's heartfelt concern for the suffering of his subjects. With this, he willingly devotes himself to working side by side with his subjects in the remote areas, in order to help them have a better standard of living, to have enough to live and to eat, and most importantly, to be self-reliant. His Majesty the King emphasizes strengthening the community in each area. When the community is strong enough to become self-reliant, the development then spreads to a wider scale. This is a step-by-step development approach, starting small and growing larger. This coincides with the royal speeches given by His Majesty the King on various occasions. He repeatedly suggested that his subjects at all levels, ranging from the family, the community, to the state, which is responsible for administering the country, to plan making decisions and implement activities based on moderation, reasonableness, and self-immunity, in order to be ready for any unexpected changes. In any case, a strong social foundation must be created before carrying out the next stages of development, which must be done according to actual potential rather than pursuing a leaping but unsustainable growth, as reflected in His Majesty's speech given on the 18th of July 1974. Development of the nation must be carried out in stages, starting with the laying of the foundation by ensuring that the majority of people have their basic necessities through the use of economical means and equipment in accordance with theoretical principles. Once a reasonably firm foundation has been laid, in effect, higher levels of economic growth and development should be promoted. This royal speech has become the mould for the philosophy of sufficiency economy, which represents the guiding light to help the Thai people and society to survive through the hard times of the 1997 economic crisis. To be a tiger is not important. The important thing for us is to have a self-supporting economy. A self-supporting economy means to have enough to survive. The royal speech of His Majesty the King on the 4th of December 1997 made many sectors in the Thai society take one step back and review their past lifestyles. Many began to have more understanding and realization of the idea of sufficiency economy, which includes moderation, prudence, and reasonableness, which means neither too much nor too little, while not placing burdens upon oneself or taking advantages of other people. At the same time, it is necessary to think reasonably before engaging in any operations, and create self-immunity in order to be ready for the impacts from changes in the future. Equally crucial, one has to use knowledge, prudence, and morality, such as honesty, perseverance, and effort in planning, making decisions, and in all aspects of life. Although his royal guidance gained a great deal of popularity at the time, if we look back, we would see that His Majesty the King has long been adhering to and practicing the philosophy of sufficiency economy in his efforts to develop the living conditions of the villagers and farmers in the countryside. This is evident in over 3,000 royal development projects and the 6 royal development study centres located throughout Thailand. The problems of land for agriculture, water shortage, the deterioration of the natural resources, and the lack of correct agricultural knowledge were the main obstacles impeding the life of the farmers. Furthermore, The problems in each area vary according to local geographical conditions. Therefore, in order for the farmers in each region to learn about practical agricultural techniques and means to solve their problems in actual situations, His Majesty the King graciously initiated the establishment of 6 Royal Development Study Centres scattered throughout all the regions of the country, beginning in 1979. The Royal Development Study Centres serve as the places for conducting research, studies and experiments to obtain guidelines and development methods that are suitable as well as beneficial for the lives of the local people in each area. The successful results are demonstrated to the farmers in the form of a living natural museum. Each centre provides a one-stop service by gathering activities and different government officials to work together to provide services to the general public comprehensively and effectively. Importantly, the farmers and the people in the community can apply the acquired knowledge and technology in real life to make a living, to have enough to live and to eat, as well as to become self-reliant based on the idea of sufficiency economy. After this has been achieved, the farmers can form groups to build a solid foundation for the community and later the country as a whole, to step forward on a sustainable path. The New Theory farming practice is the royal initiative under the concept of the philosophy of sufficiency economy, which each centre gives importance to and encourages the farmers to follow in order for them to achieve stability in making a living, as well as a state of self-reliance and self-sufficiency. New Theory farming is the guideline for proper management of land and water resources to create optimum benefits for farmers who own a small piece of land. This is based on the calculation of the quantity of water which should be stored to be enough for agricultural activities all year round. The Royal Initiative on New Theory farming is divided into 3 phases. The New Theory Phase 1 aims to make the farmers able to effectively manage water, land, crops, capital and labour in order to achieve a high level of produce and income throughout the year. According to His Majesty the King, the land should be divided into 4 parts, with a ratio of 30-30-30-10. The first 30% is designated for a pond to store water to avoid the risk of a water shortage. The second 30% is set aside for rice cultivation, which can provide sufficient yields for daily consumption all year round. Another 30% is used to grow fruit trees, perennial trees and field crops in an integrated manner, which can provide for daily consumption, and the surplus can be sold. The remaining 10% is allocated for housing and other useful structures. The New Theory Phase 1 is the fundamental principle of sufficiency economy by promoting the farmers to have self-immunity and to become self-sufficient and self-reliant. This helps build a solid base for the farmers and their families before moving forward. Once each family within the farming community has a stable living condition, they can then proceed to the New Theory Phase 2, in which they pool their efforts and resources in the form of a group or a cooperative to create benefits for the community at large. The activities include product development and marketing, as well as helping out one another in order to improve the quality of life of the members of the group and creating unity among them. After unifying the efforts and achieving community strength, the farmers group can then move on to implement the New Theory Phase 3, which involves making the necessary contacts and coordination with other agencies such as banks or companies. The purpose is to seek support for further investments in product development and to negotiate for fair and reasonable prices for the produce, which satisfy both sides. This is a step-by-step development in order to ensure that the farmers first become self-reliant and have a stable living before expanding the development to the wider community and society at large in a balanced and sustainable manner. Today, the new theory farming and the philosophy of sufficiency economy have become the main practices in the life of farmers in many areas and regions. Manun Tednam is a farmer in Chiang Mai province who had lost money and had been in debt from rice cultivation. He came to a turning point after applying the new theory farming and dividing his agricultural land into proper proportion, which has enabled him to produce food for consumption all year round and sell the surplus to create extra income for the family.
ปลูกทุกอย่างที่กินได้นะครับที่มันกินได้ปลูกทุกอย่างที่กินได้แล้วก็สิ่งที่มันเป็นสิ่งฟุ่มเฟือยเราก็เลิกผมเอาแนวคิดเอาแนวของทฤษฎีใหม่นะครับมาประยุกต์ใช้ในพื้นที่แนวทางของพระเจ้าอยู่หัวนี่นะจะเป็นแนวทางที่จะทำให้ครอบครัวผมดีขึ้นผมทำได้ประมาณ 3-4 ปีมันเริ่มจะเข้าที่ก็คือที่นี่มันสามารถที่จะเริ่มมีความมั่นคงมากขึ้นนะครับมีรายได้มีกินที่เหลือเฟือเรามีรายได้จากการที่เราเหลือกินแล้วขาย
Similarly, Bunyem Ya Anan, a farmer in Phnom Sarakham district, Chatin Sao province, has applied the knowledge and the principles of the philosophy of sufficiency economy received from the Khao Hin Son Royal Development Study Centre to make produce in a systematic manner. Before investing money to grow each crop, Bunyem makes careful plans by studying the kinds of crop that suit the weather and the environment, calculating the quantity of water needed and, more importantly, studying the market demands. After careful planning, he divides the agricultural land based on an appropriate proportion.
ทำนาเสร็จผมก็ปลูกผักตามคันนะครับแล้วแต่พืชอะไรที่เหมาะสมตามคันว่างๆก็ปลูกหมดแล้วก็พริกผักมะเขือหลายอย่างนะคือช่วงหน้าแล้งก็ปลูกในนาครับรักษาที่นาด้วยครับให้มีปุ๋ยมีอะไรเงี้ยก็ได้ประโยชน์ตรงนี้มีความเป็นอยู่ที่ดีขึ้นมีความมั่นคงขึ้น
Dam Hayamin, a model farmer of the Pikun Thong Royal Development Study Centre, Narathiwat province, is one of those people who suffered from monocropping, which is vulnerable to fluctuation of the market prices. He at last changed to integrated farming, which focuses on creating yields to support his own living and his family in a sufficient manner.
ในเรื่องใช้จ่ายเนี่ยมันต้องประหยัดลงแน่นอนอยู่แล้วเพราะว่าของเรามีเองอยู่แล้วใช่ไหมเพราะว่าเราก็ได้ประหยัดทางข้างนอกมามีเหมือนกับผักนี่เราก็รู้สึกว่าจะปลอดสารพิษได้เยอะเพราะเราไม่ค่อยใช้ยาแล้วปลาก็ถ้าเราจะกินเมื่อไหร่เราก็ตักขึ้นกินได้เลยนี่มันมีหลายรุ่นปล่อยตั้งแต่รุ่นเล็กหลายรุ่นปล่อย
Similarly, Pitsanu Paupo is one of the model farmers in the Pupan Royal Development Study Centre in Sakon Nakhon province, who applies the new theory farming practice as a tool to turn a once barren land into a new productive land where varieties of farm produce are grown. This enables him to achieve self-sufficiency, as well as to have enough to eat, live and have a happy life.
สิบอย่างมีปลามีข้าวมีผักผลไม้มีครบทุกอย่างเราเลี้ยงเป็นอาหารทำให้พออยู่พอกินพอเพียง
Mushroom culture is a supplementary occupation that leads Wira Sikhonrak, a farmer in Lai Gao community in the Tamai district, Chantaburi province, to live a life on the path of sufficiency. Starting from culturing oyster mushroom for family cooking and selling them to earn extra income, he now transfers the knowledge and forms a group to produce mushrooms for sale, which brings income to the community. Today, Wira is deemed the community's teacher, who disseminates and promotes the expansion of the application of the philosophy of sufficiency economy.
ที่ประจำใจเราดีว่าเราได้แบ่งเวลา ให้ความรู้คนอื่นไปเป็นแบบว่าของไกลสถานนะให้เขาไปมีความรู้ให้เขามีอาชีพเสริมครับแล้วก็เพื่อว่าได้ความรู้มาจากศูนย์ศึกษาการพัฒนาอ่าวคุ้งกระเบนอันหนึ่งมาราชดำริเนี่ยเราก็ได้จากนู่นมาเราก็เอาความรู้กระจายต่อให้คนอื่นเพื่อถวายในหลวงอีกทีนึงนะพอคิดงั้นเราก็ดีใจแล้วภูมิใจมากครับไม่หวังอะไรตอบแทนนะ
Careful planning and reasonable investment are the immunity for Sawang Pawong, a farmer from Hoi Sai Royal Development Study Centre in Phetchaburi Province. He earns a living from integrated farming, in which he analyses the annual yield in order to improve the production in the following years. He upholds the principles of sufficiency economy in leading his life.
รู้จักใช้พอประมาณอะไรพวกนี้ที่ไปที่มาปีนี้ลงทุนไปเท่านี้ได้กำไรเท่านี้อะไรเนี่ยผมจะรู้หมดนะปลูกอย่างนี้ปีนี้ไม่ได้กำไรเราก็ต้องหันไปปลูกอย่างอื่นผมจะทำพอประมาณของผมที่ผมอยู่ได้ทุกวันเนี่ยเพราะเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงนี่แหละ
Although sufficiency economy has played a significant role and become a practical guideline in the agricultural sector, the philosophy of sufficiency economy in reality can be applied by people of all levels and walks of life, both in the city and the rural areas. The philosophy of sufficiency economy can also be applied in the industrial sector through the use of appropriate technology with honesty. Greed, short-term interests, taking advantage of customers and creating debts far beyond the capability to manage are to be avoided. After the huge flood that destroyed his rice field and put him in financial difficulties, Serman Intarachaya had to spend 2 years in Bangkok searching for temporary jobs. But then, with moral support and a determination to learn, Serman returned to his hometown in Bandung district, Udon Thani province, and followed the principles of the philosophy of sufficiency economy. He applied the knowledge on integrated farming which he'd studied as a guideline for making a living. At the same time, he persuaded other community members to form many occupational and activity groups, which have created income and strengthened this community.
คำว่าพอเพียงก็คือต้องทำให้เราพอเพียงก่อนใช่ไหมครับให้เราทรงตัวอยู่ได้นะครับไม่หวังร่ำรวยอะไรคือเราพอเพียงแล้วเราก็ช่วยเหลือผู้อื่นนะครับทุกเมื่อนะครับที่เรามีโอกาส
By leading his life on the basis of sufficiency and successfully transferring the outcomes to the community, Serman won the first prize from the Best Practice of the Philosophy of Sufficiency Economy contest organised by the Office of Royal Development Projects Board and the Chai Patana Foundation in the individual category in 2007. Chanti Pratumpa, a farmer in Dalatsai district, Nakhon Ratchasima province, was burdened with serious debts after losing hundreds of thousands of baht to the middlemen who lured him into working abroad.
เขาจะทำวีซ่าแล้วผมก็ไม่รู้จักว่าวีซ่าคืออะไรกรุงเทพผมก็ไม่เคยเข้าก็เลยมอบให้เขาเงิน 200,000 ให้คุณไปจัดการเลยมาหลอกผมมึนคิดอะไรไม่ออกตอนนั้นคิดจะฆ่าตัวตาย
The desperate life of Chanti revived after he had applied the principles of sufficiency economy on his own land. He used the royal initiatives on the new theory to initially produce food for consumption all year round before selling the surplus to earn additional income. This way, Chanti received the first prize from the Best Practice of the Philosophy of Sufficiency Economy contest in the category of the New Theory Farming in 2007.
จากคนเป็นหนี้เป็นสินแล้วกลายเป็นมีอยู่มีกินไม่มีหนี้ไม่มีสินมีลูกหลานคืนถิ่นมีครอบครัวอบอุ่นมีชุมชนที่เข้มแข็งเพราะบารมีของพระบาทสมเด็จพระเจ้าอยู่หัว
Chanti
ที่ทรงมีพระราชดำริ
Pratumpa,
ในการพัฒนาชุมชน Sufficiency Economy ก็คือการ
In addition, in the business sector, many companies and organizations now apply the philosophy of sufficiency economy to build core competency and a solid grounding based on the concept of self-sufficiency. This is evident in the case of Nitti Foods Company Limited, an agro-processing enterprise in Chiang Mai province.
ผมว่าเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงถ้าเราเอามาใช้กับภาคอุตสาหกรรมนะครับมันจะค่อนข้างจะได้ผลดีเพราะว่าเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงเนี่ยเราเน้นที่การเดินสายกลางนะครับไม่ทำอะไรมากไปหรือทำอะไรน้อยไปเราดำเนินธุรกิจมา10 ปีเราก็เริ่มทำอย่างนี้มาตั้งแต่ทีแรกนะครับค่อยๆทำมันไม่ใช่ของที่ทำยากนะครับผมว่าโดยพื้นฐานทุกคนทำอยู่แล้วนะครับทำอยู่แล้วเพียงแต่ว่าเราจะต้องทำมันต้องค่อนข้างจะแน่วแน่ว่าจะดำเนินตามแนวทางตรงนี้ซึ่งเป็นแนวทางที่มันมีความถูกต้อง
Nitti Foods Company Limited aims at mainly using the company's existing capital and expanding the business little by little. This was done by managing the resources in production processes efficiently. The important factors include the development of the employees' capability and extension of concern for the employees at all levels, which are the vital foundation for the sustainable growth of the company. As a result, Nitti Foods Company Limited won the first prize from the Best Practice of the Philosophy of Sufficiency Economy contest in the category of small enterprises in 2007. When the economic crisis struck in 1997, many businesses were badly affected, including Chumpon Cabana Resort. The resort failed to expand its business operation. Its debts were multiplied, and the number of customers drastically reduced. The resort then decided to adopt the principle of moderation on the basis of self-reliance in its business operation, driven forward by the capability of the employees.
ช่วงนั้นเราเจอวิกฤตใช่ไหมคะพอเจอวิกฤตเนี่ยไม่รู้จะหันไปทางไหนมากกว่าคือทุกคนก็ลำบากใช่ไหมคะช่วงนั้นทุกคนก็คงจะอยู่ในภาวะเดียวกันหลายๆคนก็คงคิดเหมือนกันนะคะว่าเหมือนเราไปลงเรือลำเดียวกันเนี่ยค่ะถ้าเราช่วยกันเนี่ยมันก็คงไปรอดได้
At the same time, local wisdom and resources were used as key elements to attract the tourists' interest. Various forms of activities are also provided to serve different groups of tourists. Afterwards, Chumpon Cabana Resort has continuously received tourists who come to stay and visit all year round. This is a good example of building self-immunity into the business, which enabled Chumpon Cabana Resort to win the first prize from the Best Practice of the Philosophy of Sufficiency Economy contest in the category of medium enterprises. Siam Cement Public Company Limited was another organization which was hit by the 1997 economic crisis. It lost tremendous amounts of capital. This was the important lesson for the company and drove the company to review and revise its business structure to be in line with the expertise of the organization by closing down operations they are not good at and emphasizing moderation for the survival of the business. The company also undertakes personnel development and promotes unity within the organization. This forms an important basis for driving the company towards sustainable success, and is also the reason why the company received the first prize for the Best Practice of the Philosophy of Sufficiency Economy contest in the category of large enterprises in 2007.
ความท้าทายของบริษัทใหญ่ก็คือว่าทำยังไงในองค์กรที่มีความสลับซับซ้อนมากพนักงานมีจำนวนมากขึ้นผู้บริหารจะมีความใกล้ชิดให้เหมือนกับบริษัทเล็กๆและสามารถที่จะเข้ามาช่วยดูช่วยให้คำแนะนำช่วยที่จะสนับสนุนในเรื่องของการสร้างความรู้สร้างคุณสมบัติหรือสร้างวิธีการทำงานที่เราคิดว่าเป็นวิธีการทำงานที่เหมาะสมนะฮะสอดคล้องกับปรัชญาเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงตรงนี้ต่อไปได้
With the application of the philosophy of sufficiency economy, Today, many lives in various sectors of Thai society have self-immunity and value to adhere to in making a living. The philosophy of sufficiency economy has served as the pillar for Thai society to stand strong amidst the changing and unpredictable global economy. Importantly, the Royal Initiative on Sufficiency Economy has been disseminated to various groups of people of different ages in Thai society. This is like building pillars, both large and small, to form solid ground to enable Thai society to stand strong, as reflected in His Majesty the King's speech. Sufficiency economy is like the foundation of life and the basis to the stability of the country, similar to the pillars which support houses and buildings. Whether the construction will be stable or not depends on the strength of the pillars. Furthermore, the philosophy of sufficiency economy has been accepted at the international level. On the 28th of May 2006, the United Nations bestowed the UNDP Human Development Lifetime Achievement Award on His Majesty the King for his lifelong effort for the betterment of mankind, especially through the philosophy of sufficiency economy as described in this royal speech. If one is moderate in one's desires, one will have less craving. If one has less craving, one will take less advantage of others. If all nations hold this concept, I don't mean sufficiency economy. This concept of moderation, without being extreme or insatiable in one's desires, the world would be a happier place.